Hi, this is Ryan Andrews with ShapeFit.com, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about dieting myths. It's an interesting area when you think about dieting and how it works for weight management. In North America and throughout the world, a lot of people think, wow, when I need to manage my weight and get healthy, I'm going to do a diet. Well, a diet really is a means to an end. So one of the things I like to communicate to people the first time I meet with them is that dieting really isn't necessarily the answer to successful long-term weight management and health. While there's a lot of diets out there that have a lot of good points, they are almost unrealistic long-term for a lot of people. So I think it's important to be aware of the different diets out there because they do have a lot of good points. Whether it's an Atkins-style diet that says, hey, maybe we need to emphasize more proteins. Probably not a bad idea. Maybe there's a Dean Ornish diet that says, hey, we need to cut down on a lot of saturated fats and animal fats and get a lot of more whole grains, fruits and veggies and legumes. It's a good point. It's a good idea. South Beach, hey, let's control the glycemic index of our intake. Let's not do a lot of refined carbs. Let's get some solid protein sources. Makes sense. The rice diet. Eat a lot of rice. Rice is a healthy food. The grapefruit diet. Grapefruits are healthy. There's a lot of good points to a lot of these diets, but I don't think it's essential that somebody just says, hey, I'm going to do this diet and this diet only for the rest of my life. That's unrealistic and not really feasible for most people. So when it comes to dieting myths, keep in mind that there's not one magical diet. And two important things that if you get anything out of this little video segment, if there's two things you remember, it's going to be these two, hopefully. And I learned these from my nutrition mentor, Dr. John Berardi, and that is, number one, you have to use an outcomes-based approach when you're dealing with your nutrition, okay? While one type of diet or nutrition plan or intake can work very well for someone, it might not work very well for someone else. And it's easy to read a magazine or a book or hear from a physician or a dietitian about, how these certain foods may work for people, but if you try it and it doesn't work for you, then to take a different approach. Don't feel like you're a failure if you don't succeed with that one type of approach. So that's number one. It's the outcomes-based decision making. And the second main thing when it comes to diets is keep it simple. I think a lot of times we get bogged down with the details. Hey, what's the glycemic load of this plan? How much saturated fat? Animal versus plant. Hydration, liquid vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, juices, raw foods, cooked foods, frozen, canned. There's so many of these variables that we tend to worry about. It's all these details, and we really, really need to take a step back and say, what? How's my nutrition as a whole? Am I keeping it simple? Am I doing a lot of processed, prepackaged foods? That's probably not a good idea. If I'm doing a lot of whole grains, I'm doing a lot of legumes, keeping my protein up, getting most of my carbs from veggies and fruits and building in some starchy carbs as able, that tends to work. Keep it very simple. Listen to hunger and satiety cues. That's another thing that completely bothers me about diets and nutrition plans is that we get so focused on numbers that we shut off our hunger and satiety cues. What good is that going to do? If anything, that's probably going to lead to feelings of deprivation and not a lot of success long term. So again, use an outcomes-based approach with your nutritional planning and keep it as simple as possible. That's just a few of the things I wanted to talk about with dieting today. If you ever have any concerns or questions about diets, make sure to drop me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you out. So again, this is Ryan Andrews with ShapeFit.com, cluing you in on some of the ins and outs of dieting. Thanks.